is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to episode 11 of Sunday Morning Conversation, where we talk to content creators, large, small, and everywhere in between, about the trading card, TCG, Pokemon space. If you want to be on a future episode of Sunday Morning Conversation, feel free to email me in the description below or on Instagram. Today, we have a very special guest, someone who has just started creating content regularly in the last couple months, and I've found him a little recently as well, and has some amazing takes and news and information to put out there. Let's welcome Krabby Carbs to the channel. Krabby, how are we doing, man?
Awesome, Bronze. Thank you so much for having me on. Happy to be here. Always excited to talk about Pokemon.
Yeah, so to get started, since you are a little newer to the scene, I mean, I say that, and I've only been doing it for about 3 months regularly, but just tell us about yourself, you know, what got you into collecting or selling, and, you know, where you started and where you're planning on going.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I've only had the YouTube channel for about 4 months. I think I actually just hit 4 months a few days ago, and I got back into the hobby. I have the same story, 90s kid, base set, yada, yada. But what's different about me is I got in as a very early adult. I believe I was 20 or 21. It was 2012. And I got back into the hobby with black and white era and started opening Dragons Exalted and Boundaries Crossed and tins and all kinds of stuff. And was in for about a year or two, and then was kind of in and out for a few years. And then in 2018, discovered Evolutions and just ripped a ridiculous amount of Evolutions booster boxes. And then Hidden Fates came around in 2019, and it was all over. And basically since 2019, I've been all in, collecting every set, going back and collecting what sets I could afford. So just you know, amassed this insane collection over, you know, basically over a decade. And then, you know, in 2021 we boomed, and my collection became worth, you know, way more than I ever thought it could possibly be. And I started realizing, okay, there's a financial part of this as well that is I would be irresponsible not to pay attention to. So I started interacting with the hobby in that way a little bit then, and doing some flips and grading and different things. And yeah, I just wanted to start chronicling my journey. I wish I would have done it like 5 or 6 years ago, but you know what? We're here today, and I'm excited to be able to share my story and my takes with everybody.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, I started kind of getting back into it during COVID times, and XY Evo at that point had just kind of, you know, it wasn't like dirt prices like it was when it first came out, but it was hovering in like that $15-ish range. And I remember when the first streams when I found out breaking was a thing, I hopped in, I bought like 8 packs, and in those 8 packs, I pulled literally every Charizard possible, like the whole cycle. I think they refer to it in baseball. So I was like, okay, this seems fun. Let's just do this. And then obviously it just continued to get hosed after that. So yeah, so would you say because it looks like with your content that you kind of mainly more talk about the finances and the grading stuff. Do you run a single store? Do you plan on getting into like the bulk game like I and a lot of my audience does, or are you still trying to stick mainly to the higher dollar you know, products and whatnot?
Yeah, so I really enjoy sourcing raw cards to grade, or just I do really enjoy speccing on single cards as well. You know, I'll buy 10, 15, sometimes even 20 copies of a card, and usually it is for a shorter term hold. When I say short term, like a 6 to 12 month, and usually I like to do it like before a set goes out of rotation or out of print, you know, unofficially out of print. And then I will, in the meantime, get a lot of the clean copies graded, and the ones that I will sell off and get down to a zero cost basis on the raw copies that I'm holding. I recently did this with the Ninetales illustration rare from Obsidian Flames. I bought 25 copies. I graded 5, 10'd 2 of them, sold them off. And now I actually have another 10 actually in an auction, actually ending today, actually, today, and with Fanatics. And, you know, it's a really great way. And I put that money all back into the hobby to buy sealed product that I like. I'm mainly a sealed collector. I do enjoy. I do have a top loader binder, and I do have some graded cards in my collection from a few years ago. Cards that really meant a lot to me that I wanted encapsulated and just kind of preserved in the way that they were. But for my personal collection now, I pretty much keep stuff raw. But yeah, I really just enjoy grading a card and the value that grading adds. I don't fully understand it myself, but
Yeah.
it really is a cheat code. It really is. And if man, if you the barrier to entry is never lower than it's never been as low as it is now to get involved with grading. Even with PSA backed up, there's still CGC, which is who I use mostly, and their turnaround times are great right now. So anybody who's never tried grading, take 10 or 15 cards that you don't enjoy in your collection anymore that are worth at least $15 to $20 raw is typically where I like to be, and then at least a 3 or 4x when it's graded in a 10. You can get into like the $5 and $7 and $9 cards. They're a little more risky because sometimes if they nine, they'll go for like the same as raw price,
Sure.
and then you're losing the grading fee. So grading is definitely the way right now that I am doing the most flipping with, for sure, because it's just it's so easy.
Yeah. It was probably a year or two ago, maybe, I can't remember, but the only card I ever spec'd with it was, and because I just love, it's one of my favorite my favorite favorite Pokemon. I refer to them as the Derp Squad. It's Psyduck, Slowpoke, Cramorant. Those are the three. I'm a set collector, but when it comes to single Pokemon, those are the only three that I'll save. But one
Nice.
card I always thought was absolutely beautiful was the Clefairy from Obsidian Flames. And I remember for
I
a
love
while
that.
that thing was like $7, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna buy a lot of these because I can't imagine that this thing is gonna be $7 forever. And I ended up grading a bunch of them, and I think out of the 20 I sent, like 18 of them came back a 10, and then literally like 3 months later they shot up to. So I was like, okay, but
Wow.
I was still paying off a lot of that at that point, so a lot of that went to that.
Yeah.
With grading as much as you are, how do you feel about the wait times? Because I know the wait times are starting to get a little better, but still with 4 to 6 months minimum to get your cards back. And I think you touched on this in a video you just did recently. How much of an ingredient is that for you when you send things off? Because I feel like a lot of submissions are going to start coming back relatively soon that are going to really start to, I don't want to say flood the market, but really start to put a lot of cards out there that, I mean, in my opinion, could be the start of maybe a potential downslide with the amount of cards that are waiting to come back. But what is your opinion
Yeah.
on that, and how to handle that for anyone trying to get into it or continuing to do it as well?
Yeah, it is very well possible, and I've been saying this for like 3 years, but it is possible that it's upon us. The junk slab era is coming at some point. Um,
Like junk wax in
it,
sports almost, you know?
exactly, and it might already be here. There is so many PSA 7s, PSA 8s, CGC 5s, CGC 7s. Like there is a lot of. You look at these mystery bags, and there's definitely a lot of um, cards in there that you're like, why did anybody ever get this card graded? Even if it would attend, it's very confusing. But so I currently, as of the last week or two, I am not going to send anything with PSA for the foreseeable future, because I would push that out. I mean, what they're telling us is basically 5 to 7 months of wait time for bulk. So I would call that 8 to 10. They're usually lagging a few months behind with what they actually say.
Sure.
So I would not expect to get your cards back until 2027 if you send anything with PSA right now. I mean, I've heard even people sending the 10-day, and it's been months. And so I would not send anything with PSA right now. I've heard that GameStop, if you go through them, I would not put high value cards through GameStop. I would send off 10 or 20 cards in the like $15 to $20 value range. But the barrier to entry, you just go and drop the cards off. They take the pictures, they send them off. I've heard that you get GameStop back a lot sooner than you do going directly, but I don't know how true that is. I am doing basically 100% of my grading moving forward will be through CGC and
Interesting.
Fanatics. So you send 50 to 100 cards to CGC, and they grade them in about 4 weeks, and they go immediately into the Fanatics live weekly auction. And they they take the grading fee rate out. It's incredible. It really is. It is a kind of a cheat code right now that I feel like not a lot of people are utilizing. It's out there. Many people are offering the service. I believe there's like 10 or 12 different ways you can go about it. You can even go direct with Fanatics. It's a little more expensive. I believe it's $10 a card if you go directly through CGC Fanatics. I go through Dan at Tcgplayer Collectibles, and it's $8.50 a card. And yeah, it's an incredible service. I hope it doesn't go away anytime soon. It's very possible that it could go from $8.50 a card to $9.50 a card at some point. It used to be $7.50 last summer, and now it's $8.50. But I've been doing that service for about 10 months, and just the liquidity of being able to send off 50 to 100 cards, get them graded in 4 weeks, and put right into the auction, and you get paid out is just absolutely amazing for liquidity.
Interesting. Does the obviously, like, PSA is the market, and it has, like, you know, on average the higher return for value when it comes to especially getting a 10. Does that trade-off of the time it's taking to get cards back and the loss of potential revenue in what you could get matter to you at all? I know there's like a unsung, or not unsung, like an unwritten rule that, like, you have PSA 10 and then you have like a CGC 10 is below, but sometimes a pristine 10 could be considered higher than a PSA 10. Is that something that you factor in when you grade, or is that something that other people should factor in when they grade, or should it be one of those things where it's all about churning and burning, just get them graded, get what you can, and then just wash, rinse, repeat?
Yeah, for sure. It's very rare. I would say almost never that a regular CGC 10 will go for more than a PSA 10. There is many cases, I would say more often than not, a CGC pristine goes for more than a PSA 10. In some cases, significantly more, depending on the card. And it's gaining more. The CGC pristine is gaining more and more traction. I don't think it's ever going to be as lucrative as a Beckett Black Label. It's much easier to get a pristine. I get pristines all the time. I just had a submission come through of I believe it was 140 cards. I think I hit about 14 pristines. So that would be about 10%, around 10%. So I was very happy with that. And now I do pre-grade. I pre-grade pretty. I'm not the harshest pre-grader, but I'm definitely not I'm not like a YOLO, just let's see what it gets, because that's how you get fives.
Yeah,
so,
like my Muse Celebrations experiment, where I just said, "Oh, there's 50 of these. Let's just send them all in." And yeah, that was a easy lesson to learn from. But you know, is what it is.
Yeah, pick the 10. If you get 50 cards of anything, pick the 10 cleanest, and then see what they get.
Yeah,
because if they all get 8s and 9s, then you know the rest are But so the way it is right now, it's Beckett Black Label, it's CGC pristine. Some people will put tag 10 in there and then PSA 10. I am not a fan of tag. I just don't like the way their slab looks. I'm sure the AI grading is fine, but I just don't like the process. I don't know. But I would say that the CGC Pristine has cemented itself as a higher tier than a PSA 10 for sure. And then to answer your other question, the liquidity and the turnaround time makes it so much more worth it, even if you're going to get, you know, a little bit less per card. You know, it's like 10 to 20% less for a CGC 10, sometimes a little more depending on the card if you get the higher value ones. I'm not typically sending cards that are $300, $400, $500 in value. My sweet spot is kind of the $20 to $100 mark, is where I like, and then get those little double, triple up multipliers. And when you're doing that in volume, it adds up quick. And then you get that liquidity back within really 5 to 6 weeks. And then you go buy another 100 cards and you do the same thing over and over again. And you can do that maybe 8 times before you would have your cards from PSA back.
Mm.
So the burn and churn with CGC Fanatics is definitely worth it.
Thought about maybe doing that with like Cosmos Hollows. Maybe, you know, of choice Pokemon, maybe that might be a good CGC experiment. Send in, 10 or 20 of those. There won't be any barn burners, but $39.99, $49.99 for some EV or trainers Pokemon or something could be a decent thing. Wonder if with PSA kind of changing their threshold for what a 10 is, making it a little more difficult a couple months ago. Have you noticed how that has affected the CGC, like the comparison of how easy it is for a CGC 10 versus a PSA 10, and how that's affected any pricing, or has that not really been anything you've been able to notice?
I haven't noticed it with the pricing. I think it was already the PSA, the longevity and the notoriety was already baked in pretty good for the PSA 10 over a CGC 10. Ever since CGC switched from their blue label to their black label, everybody has definitely said that they're too easy on the grading. Now they went from like impossible to get a 10 to a little too easy to get a 10. But the liquidity is still there so much because a lot of people will buy a CGC 10 and try to cross it over into a PSA 10. A lot of people try to do that play depending on what the value is there. But yeah, I think that CGC will continue to rise in value. Look, last month, CGC graded 650,000 cards, and that is almost all. It's a lot. I believe that PSA was 2.1 million the same month, but they have all the sports cards as well. Probably about half of their stuff is sports cards. So when you look at just TCG, because nobody really grades sports cards with CGC, a couple thousand a month. CGC is closing the gap, and if PSA does shut it down, like the rumors are, I don't know if it's going to happen, if it's not going to happen, but they kind of already have to a certain degree. But let's say they do, they probably don't. They're probably thinking twice about that because CGC was not as reputable and as big in 2021, 2020, 2021 when PSA shut down. CGC wasn't really around. They had just started. So they weren't like a known name. They just did their comic books and whatever. So now that CGC has cemented themselves as like the number 2, I think that would scare PSA to shut it down because they're like, oh man, like everybody's going to go to, if PSA shuts it down, CGC would get the submissions for over 1 million cards a month. I bet. Can they handle that volume? I don't know. Hopefully they are also taking measures to grow because they see what's coming. But yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm going to keep grading with them as long as it's easy and they're selling it. I have about a 97-98% sell and pay rate on CGC Fanatics. And if it doesn't sell, it just goes into the next week and it sells and gets paid for the next week. So it's great.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's I'm surprised because I heard that, and I thought my first thought was, well, they didn't shut things down during COVID till they got to like the 2-year wait mark. Like it got bad, right? Now it probably should have been before. Something should have happened before that mark, but I mean, we're not even to the 9-month mark, 10-month mark yet. They're still saying like 4 to 6 months. So I can't imagine that they would really pull the trigger, but something's got to give, because one thing I've always been really just like pissed about is, and it's probably because they just don't have to, but I don't understand why PSA doesn't put down their grade scores either on the label or, I mean, it can't be hard to put it on the QR code. Just scan the QR code, see the pop, and just say, okay, 9988. Like the fact that there's no transparency on the card. Yeah, exactly. I think the one card I had, and I was dying for a 10. It was I had found like this. It was probably the cleanest copy of a Holo Charizard from XY Evo I'd ever seen in my life. And anyone who's been in Pokemon for any amount of time knows that XY Evo, as far as quality goes, is crap. It is bad. So I sent it in 5 different times, and it went 9,
5.
8, 7, 9, 8, and I was so angry of
Ooh.
how like all over the place it was. And you know, it's for that price. You know, if I didn't have to pay the upcharge because it wasn't a you know, didn't get a 10. But it's like if I would have, can you like let me know what's wrong with it so I can like stop trying to do this? Oh yeah. Was that a
Yeah,
6? Or
yeah,
was that an 8?
an 8. It's an
Yeah,
8. It was a 9, and I cracked it, and it turned
yeah.
into an 8. And I'm
It's
like,
just
that
it's
card
insane.
is one of the hardest cards. I don't even know what the gem rate. It's probably in the
No,
teens. The
Alex
gem rate for
Alex
that card.
pulled up the. I looked it up when I originally sent it in, and it was like not even 1,000. But I think it was like out of the 20. I think for the hollow rare, it's like 40 or fifty
Wow.
thousand cards, and I think sub 1,000 are 10 because of the quality's that
Holy
bad.
mo-
It's
Right.
insane.
Yeah. It really is. It's yeah. The PSA 9 populations are such a joke because how many of those were cracked out and resent,
Yeah.
and they just got a 9 again, and they got a 9 again.
Yeah, because you know not
So
everybody's emailing the numbers, the certain numbers. Hey, I cracked this. I'm resending it. Can you take it off the pop report? Nobody cares about that.
nobody's doing that. Yeah, nobody's doing that. But yeah, it's wild.
So with the sealed stuff, because I like you said, you like to collect sealed. We see some nice little gems back there, especially those hidden fates ETBs. What
Yeah,
do you look
evolutions.
for in what you try to buy when it comes to collecting, and where do you kind of draw the line between collecting and investing? Because I'm not an investor, but I think to a certain point, collecting and investing overlap. The
Yeah,
extent of my investing is my little fledgling ETB collection here. I have
nice,
some perfect order ETBs in the closet. Every time I go to my local game store and I buy whatever I need for the channel, I always buy one extra something. So I've got 4 or 5 perfect order ETBs because I feel like that's the
nice,
shrouded fable of today. And then I always buy, if they have them, like a booster bundle of Ascended Heroes. Even though I'm paying close to
nice.
market, I've taken Alex from Nostalgianomics advice of, if you want it, just buy it, because even if it goes down, eventually to go back up. And Ascended Heroes is probably one of those things that's never gonna go down. But yeah, where do you
Yeah,
draw that line on how you handle collecting and selling, and when you're ready to let it go?
yeah. So I was always, during the Sun and Moon era, I'm like, okay, I want to buy one of every booster box. Open one, keep one sealed. I went back as far as I could in XY. Once I hit Flashfire and oh my gosh, Phantom Forces, I
Yeah,
was priced out. So I got like Primal Clash and Ancient Origins and Roaring Skies and Steam Siege and Evolutions, and then I'm like, okay, that's all I'm going to be able to afford from XY. And then I just got one of every box for Sun and Moon era. And then really regret not doing the ETBs. Sword and Shield era, one of every box, and then I started buying an ETB as well. And then as it went, I'm like, well, now I want a 3-pack blister of everything as well. Well, now I want an art set. And I got into this. It was almost like a rut, and it was almost kind of stressful because it's like, okay, now every new set, I have to buy a booster box, I have to buy an ETB, I have to buy a 3-pack blister. But and then when booster bundles came out, I'm like, well, I got to get a booster bundle, and I became obsessed with this. Just like I want to have one of everything from every set, instead of just like, you know what? If I want to skip, whatever perfect order or whatever, I can do that. And I finally did that in, like, what was it, 2022, 20 maybe. I think Battle Styles was the first set where I'm like, you know what? Like, I truly don't enjoy this set. I'm gonna get like an ETB and that's it. And then Chilling Reign came along, and I'm like, I really like Chilling Reign a lot. I'm gonna get 2 ETBs of each version. I'm gonna get 2 booster boxes. I'm gonna get, you know what I mean. So that was kind of a turning point for me. So I guess that was 2021, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna really collect what I like, and we'll see what happens, right? And then so everything changed a little bit there, and then the financial part of it really came like last year. like a year and a half ago with Team Up. Unfortunately, my Team Up box is no longer with me.
Boo.
It just became, I have a 2-year-old daughter. At the time she was 1, and it was about this time last year actually. And this is a funny story. Team Up hit like 4K, 5K, 6K. I'm like, I don't want to sell this box. I'm a collector, and then it hit like 8K. Like at some point along that journey, I actually texted my friend who's a vendor, and I'm like, what would you give for this right now? And he, 80, 85%, whatever. And I was like, I don't think I want to do that right now. But he was busy. Like, we'll touch base. Well, then, 7K, 8K, 9K, 10K, right? And I'm like, okay, this is too much for me. So I listed it. It was a rigorous process that I have a whole video about it on my channel. It's a long story, but basically, I sold it for $10,000. And
Good for you.
that kind of money for somebody with a wife and a mortgage and a 1-year-old, 10 grand is like life changing. You know what I mean? And
you're telling me I just sold in my bulk for 10 grand.
Right.
It was
exactly.
It's like, dude, I hated doing it, but then when I had the money, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
Things could be worse.
And what was incredible about it then is it really unlocked a whole nother collector in me, because then it's like, you know what? So now this collection is broke up. I had one of every Sun and Moon box, right? One nice minty booster box. Now it's like, you know what? Now that the set's broken up, I don't really like Crimson Invasion that much. I don't really like Sun and Moon Base that much. Like a couple months later, when those went up a little bit, I sold those as well. Actually, that was in January. I sold those to buy Ascended Heroes because I wanted to have a ton of Ascended Heroes. I actually sold a bunch of my collection and even some comic books and some gold and silver. That was just for pure collecting, not even as an investment. I just liked the coins. And I went hard. I put about $8,000 to $10,000 into Ascended Heroes sealed cases,
Wow.
because I enjoy the set. I like opening it. I want to have it for my kids in the future. I want to have it as, I guess, an investment. That's where the last couple of years, I guess I have gotten a little bit more on the like pure investment side with some things. I did buy a case of Ascended Heroes ETBs, and man, they've already like doubled, I think, since I bought it. It's wild, but yeah, don't let anybody, whether you're a collector or a collector that's getting into investing, or I have this theory. I believe there is some investors or even scalpers, dare I say, that might just be, getting into the collector side a little bit themselves. Like if you interact with this stuff long enough, like you have to be like, well, what's this all about? Let me just, you're like, Perfect Order is the cheapest. Let me just crack a pack. Whoa, look at this Meowth. This is cool. Like I bet there are some scalpers and investor bros that have gotten into the hobby for fun too the last couple months and the last couple years. But yeah, however you're interacting with the hobby, like do whatever you want to do. There's no right or wrong way to collect any of this stuff. Just make sure that you're being financially responsible.
Yeah.
And this is the line that I say, my followers or subscribers are probably so sick of hearing this, but I say it like every other video: use the hobby to fund the hobby. I have not put personal money into Pokemon in over 2 years. I always am buying, selling, and trading, and using the money from selling stuff to buy more stuff. And that is just, it's so easy to do in 2026 with how liquid the hobby is, with just how much popularity and with how much stuff is appreciated. It's not always going to be like that. The appreciation isn't always going to be that extreme, but right now it is. And if you're not taking advantage of that and trimming off parts of your collection that you truly don't really like that much, you're going to regret it. I think you'll regret it in the long run.
Yeah, it's a pain point I've been having because I'm very much a completionist at heart. I've talked about it before. Those are the types of video games I like to play. Your Banjo-Kazooies, where you have like 80,000 different trinkets that you have to max out at 100%. And I've had a really hard time with the master sets, because the whole reason I got into master setting was because I was in the bulk game. It was so easy for me to knock out all the
Uh,
reverses and the hollows. I was like, you know what? Well, let's just, we'll put those together, and then as the singles come, just plop them in there. But now that I'm starting to kind of get things going on this side a little bit, you know, there's some good stuff in there. Like I pulled that Mewtwo, not Mewtwo, the Meowth SIR from Perfect Order.
yep.
There's a bunch of illustration rares that I have from like Black and White and White Flare that I've gone from like 10 or 20 to 40 or 50 and more. I'm sure some of them would PSA 10. So I keep thinking of all the permutations of like, man, maybe I just need to pick a lane and just go with ETBs, or maybe I need to pick a lane and just say, you know what, give up the master setting and just stick with my three dudes and maybe just get the PSA 10 versions of the cards I like. But I have this internal conflict because I feel like, and I would love to have your opinion on this, because I feel like, and I mentioned it in conversations before, that the investing side of things, not to wish any ill will on anybody, but I feel like there's so many people doing it, and doing it to a irrational or irresponsible way is what is going to trigger the next coming of the downfall or the downward turn. Because I feel like there's going to be one moment where something doesn't go right or some product doesn't go well. I mean, I've seen the Chaos Rising ETBs. They were like 100, 110, now they're at 90, and people are starting to freak out about it. And it's like, I feel like something like that's going to happen to where everyone's going to flood the market with all the seal stuff that they've been collecting and holding, and that's going to really set things in motion. What would your advice be to someone like me or someone out there who's really struggling with what they should collect, and where to draw the line on that? Because I think it's a hard one that a lot of people would struggle with.
Yeah, I think it goes back to really, if you enjoy and you have the space to collect one of every ETB, if that's what you like, they're the best display pieces by far of any sealed product. Do that, or whether it's you just want to collect an art set or you want to collection boxes. I absolutely love collection boxes. Like, people talk crap on them, but they're actually not that hard to store. And just like I like, this has Evolving Skies and Chilling Rain and Vivid Voltage. Like, I love how collection boxes encompass a bunch of different sets from an era together.
Sure.
So really, you find your lane in whatever you enjoy the most. And if you're a completionist, you can complete whatever. If you're collecting three pack blisters, you can get every variation of those and different stuff. And there's no wrong way to do it. I personally I even enjoy sealed cases, because like, I'm looking forward to opening them one day. I'm not gonna, like, I have a bunch of sealed cases. I had to get a storage unit at the beginning of this year. I never thought I would be that guy. And part of it was because of safety as well.
Sure.
I wanted to move a lot of the expensive stuff out of my house. But I have a storage unit and I have some sealed cases, and some of those will absolutely, I can guarantee some of those will be opened by me and my kids in the future. Because, and even for with your friends or whatever, however you want to do it, like getting product at a good cost and keeping it, we'll call it an investment, call it a long-term collection, whatever, you're not going to regret having it down the road. Right. So, if you enjoy it, I would buy it and, figure it out later. Like I said, as long as you're being financially responsible, take some money off the table, throughout the whole journey. Do the roll of three, buy three of any product and rip one, and then keep one for trade or selling later, and keep one for your sealed collection. Sealed, there's no wrong way to do it. I mean, if you're out there buying like 10 cases and you don't have some kind of business or something, that's a little scary. Like you were talking about the whole, the bottom potentially falling out. I don't think it's going to be as extreme as everybody thinks it is, because I think a lot of people, number one, everyone's not going to sell at the same point. And number two, so many people are just going to sell those to rip and shippers and to streamers at whatever, 70, 75%. I feel like you're not even going to see the like it's not going to be on eBay or Tcgplayer, so you're not going to see just a dumping of product. It's going to
That's a
be
fair point.
private deals to get liquidated all in one, because these people that have that amount of quantity that would actually affect the market, they need one person. They're like, dude, whatever, insert breaker's name, whatnot breaker's name here, that rips through 1,000 packs a night still. Because in the bull, if a bear market does happen, yeah, unfortunately, there might be 20, 30, 40% of rip and shippers might, fail and go away. But the ones that do it right, your Nostalgianomics, your Dariums, your reputable people that do it the right way, Catch 'em all collectibles, like they have their fan base, and they're people that are still people like me and you, and we're true fans. And I would love if the market dips 50% tomorrow. Do you know how much I would buy? Like, so I think the good ones will survive. And yeah, there will be a downturn at some point, but until that happens, even with the craziness, you can still there's still opportunities. There's still the grading plays that we talked about that you can use to fund your sealed collection. That's what I've done. Actually, I'm not a big graded guy. Most of these cards that I have graded, were bought with the intention to flip them, to get money, to buy more to flip, and to buy sealed product. Like that's kind of how I do it. And if you haven't done it, at least try it with 10 or 15 cards, just to start. But I know we already talked about that. But yeah, anyway, I was going to say something else and I forget. I kind of went off there.
That's
So
okay. Well, I asked like a 5 minute long question, so it's
yeah.
even Stevens. But we were talking about it a little bit before we went live, but I feel like investor bro, pokey financing, all those things are like turning into 4 letter words where it's just like this scarlet letter of like anyone who talks about the finance side of things, just they don't look at other people that talk about it in a particularly great light, which I don't get and don't understand. Literally any hobby out there. I mean, other versions of trading cards, obviously there's stocks. I mean, there's so many other avenues of things that people buy, sell, and collect where there are people that constantly talk about the finance side and the money side of that hobby that it's not really an out of place thing. What is your opinion on that? Because I feel like between you and DJ's Poke Center and Nostalgianomics, I feel like that's like the right way to do things. You're just kind of putting information out there. You're not necessarily telling people that they should buy or should sell. But there are people out there that are obviously ne'er-do-wells who are trying to pump and dump for their own doing, which, like anything else, the minority of people that are scumbags are going to ruin it for everybody else who's trying to put out good information out there. What would you say to that, who might look at someone who is into more of the financial side of things or likes to talk about it in the wrong way?
Yeah, I don't really, if they truly would sit down and think about what they're saying, and the ones, it's like it's a children's card game. How can you talk about the financials of it, right? It's like something can be more than one thing. Yes, it is a card game. It's not a children's card game. It's for everybody. Pokemon themselves is very clear about that.
Yeah.
All ages.
Contrary to popular belief, one of the C's in CCG is not children.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, exactly. They literally have different age brackets for the competitive play.
Yeah.
And last time I checked, and for almost the whole history, except for maybe Shaman EX during Roaring Skies, pretty much every playable card is relatively affordable, or at least has a version of the card that is affordable. So the barrier to entry to actually play the game, which is always what they say, it's a children's card game. They really have no leg to stand on there. And Alex Nostalgianomics says it all the time about how like all hobbies have somebody who is in business that is allowing people to enjoy their hobbies by selling them the things that they need. So it's a business, and most people that have a business selling, golf equipment or snowboarding stuff or whatever, they enjoy that hobby themselves, and that's why they're selling stuff to other people that enjoy the hobby. So, is there some people that take it too far? Absolutely. Don't ever buy something because a YouTuber tells you to do it. I try not to really say like, but like I will never tell anybody to buy this now. I try not to like look at everything purely from a financial gain. On my channel, I like to look at every single product that I talk about from a collector side first, and then also like, I wouldn't buy that personally. Buy Destin Rivals right now at whatever it is. I don't even check anymore. $700. Because it's going to be in print for 2 more years, whatever. And I'll give reasons why I don't like it. Or, oh, Surging Sparks is 250. I'd like to pick up a couple more boxes and stuff like that. So as long as you're listening to people that are responsible with their audience, I think you'll do just fine. And a lot of them do give good advice. They have their pulse, their what do they call it? Their beat on the pulse of the market.
Finger on the pulse.
Yeah. Finger on the pulse. Thank you. Yeah. Finger on the pulse. And, there's so many content creators out there, but find the ones that work best for you. Not everybody is for everybody. And, but I promise you that you'll find some that are good people, and go back and look at go back and watch a bunch of their videos and see, what kind of person they are. It doesn't take long to see what kind of person a content creator is and what their intentions are. So anybody who's just trying to get you to buy stuff from them, or to like whatever, like, you'll know pretty quickly which ones are being truthful or not.
Yeah, authenticity. I've talked about it with a billion people before, but authenticity, I feel like, is like the number one currency right now when it comes to content creation. If you are not authentic in what you're doing and what you're selling, it's really easy to sniff out nowadays, and it's almost like an automatic, like, no thanks. I know you said you got into doing this just to kind of chronicle your journey and kind of put the information out there. Was there a specific thing that triggered you to do it? Because, not to glaze you too hard, you communicate very well. In the short amount of time that you've been doing this, you've obviously garnered a pretty decent following of people that you like your content and what you have to say. And to put it out there, again, something we were talking about beforehand, anyone who's starting, don't wait till you have everything set in place. My man here, I didn't realize this, he's been doing his stuff on his phone for this entire time. And it's just consistency and just having the guts to just kind of go out there and do it, and you can really make anything happen. Was there a specific moment where you're like, this cannot stand, I have to put my take out there now? Or was it more just hey, if I'm already doing it, might as well record it, and it's not that much of a big deal?
I got to be honest, and this is going to sound cliche, and I think a lot of people might have this story in a few years. It was Pokey NE. It was Brian. About 5 months ago, before he went on his journey to fatherhood and took a break from YouTube for a couple of months, he made a video and said, basically, just turn the freaking camera on and talk. Yeah. Like, if you like Pokemon, other people will like that will like Pokemon are going to watch you. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. It doesn't matter the quality. Like, just turn it on and talk. And I'm like, you know what? I'm finally going to do it. I had thought about it. Actually, this is something I never told anybody before. In 2012, I filmed myself opening tins of, I have the tins right here, actually. I filmed myself opening these tins right here.
Like those actual tins?
These are the actual tins that I opened myself in 2012.
Man.
These had Dragons Exalted packs, and I believe, what else did they have in them? Boundaries Crossed, maybe. It's all black and white packs. And I was watching Primetime Pokemon, the OG, and I thought about uploading them to YouTube, and I never did. This is in 2012, and I never did it. And it took me like 14 years to finally turn that camera on and do it. And I don't know why I didn't do it in 2019 and 2021 and whatever. I was consuming YouTube so much. And if you want to do it, do it. Don't wait for anybody to give you permission, and you'll figure it out. My first couple of videos were horrible. And like 100% of my channel up to this point is on my phone. I'm working on getting better equipment now and stuff, because I do want to take it a little more seriously, but you absolutely do not need that stuff to start, to just start.
Yeah. On my last failed weight loss attempt, it was probably 2.5, 3 years ago when I originally started this channel. I still look back at that video sometimes, man. I had this the room I was in had this like beige paint on it. It was not in focus. It was just like I was not kept well. It was horrible. The font on my thumbnail, you couldn't even read it. It wasn't outlined or anything. Miserable, like absolute trash. But there were still people that clicked on it. There were still people that had kind words to say. There is one of my favorite movies is Point Break. Love it.
Oh, love it.
And
Love
one of my
it.
favorite lines of any movie of all time is right before anyone who hasn't seen Point Break, you should. It's great.
The original,
Yes, the
not
original.
the remake.
That is a good clarification to make. But
Yes.
they're getting ready to make their final robbery of the movie, and the main character looks to the Keanu Reeves character and he says, "Fear leads to hesitation, and hesitation will bring out the worst of your fears." And as I've gotten close to past, slightly past the midpoint of my life, anything that makes me nervous or scared, I throw that line in my head. I force myself to say it, and then it's 1, 2, 3, jump. And then usually the worst that happens is I don't get the answer I want. You have a few seconds of feeling a little awkward about yourself, and then go about your business. So it's not as bad as you think it is. I'm glad you finally turned the camera on, because I've been loving every ounce of what you have to put out there. Who are some of your, outside of Brian, who are some of your, like for me, it was obviously Rob from RNG Games. I've been watching Rudy for years. I played Magic competitively for so long that I watched a lot of the old Channel Fireball guys, like, LSV and, a lot of other content creators. For me, outside of Pokey and E, are there any other, not even necessarily YouTube people, just like people in your life or other public people in the hobby that have really kind of pushed you into this direction? Or was it just strictly Brian?
Oh man. I hate to start naming people, because then you always leave somebody out and you feel terrible. As far as my personal life, obviously my wife has been incredibly encouraging to me. So I have to give her a shout out for allowing me the extra time. Believe it or not, the one thing that YouTube does take is a lot of time. Even if it's an hour and a half a day extra, that is family time sometimes, but and different things. So shout out to her. But as far as with Pokemon goes, I've pretty much just been a consumer of YouTube, and then I do have a close knit group of friends in the hobby that do support me a lot. As far as content that I watch, man, I watch everybody. Like I cannot get enough Pokemon content.
Yeah.
I stopped watching football. I stopped playing fantasy football. I stopped watching. I watch very little hockey now. Like I stopped watching all sports. I don't really watch movies anymore or TV show. I haven't watched a TV show in like 3 years. I'm so all in on the hobby and just enjoy it so much. I watch the investing channels. I watch the collector channels. I watch the pack opening channels. I watch the business channels. I watch the drama channels. I literally watch everybody. I'm shocked when I discover a new PokeTuber that has more than like 2,000 or 3,000 subs, because I'm like, how have I not seen their content
Oh
yet?
yeah.
Like, if you have more than 1,000 or 2,000 subs, I've probably watched you, and I truly do enjoy everybody. One that I have discovered recently, and I was fortunate enough to already be on his channel actually, is Henry's Poke Corner. That dude, man, he is a collector and through, and talks kind of like me, talks a little bit about everything, and it's just really down to earth and really chill. His videos are so chill and so relaxed, and so I really like that kind of style. But again, I like it all, and there you can get a little bit of inspiration from everybody, right? Like there's like I said, you can tell the genuine people, and who really just loves Pokemon for what it is. No matter how they're interacting with it, you can tell who really enjoys the hobby and who's just here for the wrong reasons. So
in the amount of people I've befriended or have kind of become acquaintances with over time, I kind of lean on other people for my inadequacies. I don't want to say I hate name dropping people all the time, because I love them and they mean a lot to me for what they've done for me and helped me grow. But like, when I'm feeling a little like I don't want to do something, I'll throw on a Phantom video and I'll watch that guy rant and rave for
Nice.
15 minutes to like pep me up. If I need like an
Yep.
inspirational, just a one-on-one, like I'll put on TJ because of the way that guy can talk and speak. If I'm just looking for like a casual hangout with a buddy, I'll throw you or a couple other people on because it's just like just sitting at a table, just talking to whatever. So whatever part of the day of
Yep.
my schedule where it's like, man, I don't want to record or man, I don't want to do this, there's like someone you can latch onto for literally any of those things to put you back on track because
Yep.
still to this day, scheduling has been a very hard thing for me to stick to. I have the goal of doing something every day, and sometimes that doesn't pan out. But I have a hard time wrestling with that because I am a single dude. I do not have a family. I do not have a wife. And when I see someone like you who has a family, or like TJ or whoever's out there, I try to use that as a benchmark to not make excuses and just try to prioritize better. How do you go about prioritizing your day, especially with having a family and other aspects of life that you maybe haven't talked about online? Like how hard is that for you to kind of keep things in line on a daily
Yeah.
basis?
It's difficult. So I work a full-time job. I have a very demanding job that requires many hours. So, it is definitely, I typically work usually from roughly 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., roughly, sometimes a little later. But, and then it's pretty much, as much family time as I can possibly squeeze in after work. And then I typically do all of my Pokemon related activities after my wife and daughter go to bed, usually somewhere between 9 and 10 p.m. And then I get down into the basement here and start grinding. And I will, pack and ship all my orders. I forgot to mention, I also sell stuff on eBay. But I'm not set up yet with my PO box. So it's like it's a totally random eBay name. So no one would know what it is. But I'm working on getting it switched over to Krabby's Cars. I just got to get the PO box. So pack and ship all my orders, and then I will record my video and do my thumbnails and all that good stuff. And a lot of times I'm only getting to bed usually around midnight, sometimes a little later, sometimes like 1 a.m. and do it all over again the next day. That's kind of the routine I've been in. I told myself I was going to record because Brian was very adamant about this. Like, do a video every day. Your people want like when your favorite content creator doesn't post a video in a day, you're mad at them. And it's like, like not really mad, but you're like,
Yeah.
like, dang it, why isn't a video today? So I'm like, you know what, I'm going to do it. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to be all in. My wife, like I said, my wife supported me, and I have almost done it. I think I've missed maybe 3 days. And I had the stomach flu for 2 of those. So it was it's been a
Pathetic.
grind.
The stomach flu,
It's
that's
pathetic,
it?
yeah, but
Come on,
dude, it was
man.
bad. I've never been so sick in my life. It was bad. So yeah, and I don't think that you have to go that hard. In hindsight, sometimes I'm like, oof, man, like I am sacrificing a lot of sleep, and I don't want to hurt my health by being sleep deprived. But I'm having so much fun doing it, and
Yeah.
that's something important that we haven't talked about. Like, if you start making content and you're like, oh my gosh, I hate this. I don't force yourself. Do so, or switch to a different. There's so many. Pokemon is an octopus that has like 80 legs, not just 80, not just 8.
Yeah.
And you can do something, you like figure out what you like to make content about. Even maybe even your favorite part of the hobby isn't your favorite thing to make content about. Like, I love ripping packs. Ripping packs is great. I'm not a pack opening channel. You know what I mean? I've been ripping a pack at the end of every video just for fun. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep that up for super long. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, so it's a balance. It's there's days where it's really hard. There's definitely days where it's hard to balance. There's days where sometimes I have to go to bed and then wake up early to film in the morning. I don't like doing that,
Oh, I
but
hate it. Yeah.
I've had to do that probably probably 5 or 6 times in the last couple of, because just you gotta get it in there. So but yeah.
Yeah, it's a fine line because, like, even going back to the PSA thing of them potentially shutting down, it's like I don't want to burn myself out because I do like making content. It's fun. You know, I've been trying to stick to like when I get to do my little dust off my acting chops here and there. I always want to do like I'm trying to get to the point where I do like one of those a week where I kind of get to do something a little different. And it's like if you're not going hard in the paint, there's like 100 other people that are. So it's going to make it hard for you to differentiate yourself and really be there for everybody. I mean, heck, in the last week and a half of me getting this whole bulk deal done, I haven't been able to stream for like a week and a half, and it's really eating at me because streaming has. I've always wanted to stream, and I had a little pop-ups here or there where I did it for a day or two and then would stop. And I was never nervous. It was more just the social battery of working in a very demanding customer service job. And ultimately, you know, when I started kind of getting into a rhythm of it a couple weeks ago, you know, it is something I want to do, but also just like anything else, you have to treat it like a job. Just getting back into the gym, you know, the days that you don't want to go back to the gym, you got to do it because you have to do it. Just because there's days when you're making content, it feels like a job doesn't mean that you don't enjoy it. And there should be a way that you can, you know, there's a way to figure it out. And sometimes it might take some time, but ultimately, if it's something you want to do, you'll find a way to do it.
Yeah, and you made me think of something really important too. The days that you don't feel like working out or don't feel like going to the gym or running or whatever it is, a lot of times those end up being sometimes your best workouts. The same thing happens with content.
Oh yeah.
There was there's times where I'm like, I don't know what to talk about or whatever. I'm dead tired. I just turn it on, like, I'll just talk about this. And I do it and I feel like I'm not like myself and low energy, whatever. That video will get like 7,000 views.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, what? And this one that I put all this effort into and I did all this research and I had my notes and prices and that got 1,000 views. Like, so you know what? Just again, just do what you whatever you're feeling, just do it.
I used to think it was really cringe when some YouTubers would be like, they would always reference like, oh man, my last video was a 10 out of 10 or whatever. I'm like, does that really matter? But now, every now and then when I have one that pops up and it's like right away, it's like one of my top 3, top 5. It's like, yes, God, something. Yeah, it's just a feel good moment, you know?
Yep. It really is. It is.
Yeah. Yep. So what is up for you for the rest of the year? Do you plan on doing anything different? I know you've been streaming semi occasionally with DJ's Poke Center. Are you going to be starting a podcast of your own? Like, what is your itinerary for goals and aspirations for the rest of the year when it comes to content, cards, and all that stuff?
So I'm trying to have on a guest every week. So I just Thursday night, this past Thursday night, had Dan from Catch 'Em All Collectibles on my channel as well. So every Thursday night, I'm trying to have another guest on. And if not, I'll just live stream by myself. And then I've been going on a few other people's channels as well. I definitely want to do at least a few hour live stream at least once a week and twice a week when I can. So the live streaming is so much fun. I love interacting with the chat. And it's just a lot of fun. As far as the rest of the year, I'm going to be at New Jersey Collecticon. I have never been to a Collecticon before.
Vending or just to walk around and buy?
No, just walking around, just going. I don't even know how much buying I'm going to do. I'm going to take some cash or whatever, you know, Venmo or whatever. But I just want to experience it. I'm probably not going to be able to source a whole lot of raw singles there because I'm not going to be getting there at like 5 a.m. to get in line. So I'm going to do kind of the get there in the afternoon and you know, just kind of hang out. And then I've heard that the after party is where everybody or not after party, but in the lobby, like after everybody kind of just hangs out.
It's like an impromptu trade night. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And then 30th anniversary. We didn't talk about the 30th anniversary at all. Like, that's what's going to make PSA shut down is the 30th anniversary. Like, do you know how many people are going to be getting every 30th anniversary card graded? You know, I'm so excited for the 30th anniversary. I'm hearing rumors from people that it's going to be absolutely mind blowing. They clearly teased us with that Mew and Mewtwo Chromium, whatever, something different's coming.
Yeah.
I think they might do some kind of like card technology that they've never done before. There is so much, like you look at sport. I do a little bit of sports cards on the side. That's what I sell on eBay. and there's so many different die cuts and textures and
Yeah.
finishes on the card like that Pokemon doesn't utilize, that the technology's been there for years. If we get some kind of like Chrome, like Topps Chrome like cards, but it's Pokemon licensed Chrome
Yeah.
cards, we might, this might look like a bear market right now. If that happens, like it's gonna be interesting to see what happens with the 30th anniversary. Overall in the hobby, I'm so bullish. I believe in Pokemon so much. They're
We
gonna
just
keep doing their thing.
we just have to be weary if they ever come out with like patch autos, because we know that's probably coming. You know, they're
Yeah,
not wearing any jerseys, so there might be some slain Pokies out there somewhere. I always
they
just the 30th anniversary is just an odd numbers. Like I feel like if they were to do something, it would have been 25 or save it for 50. Like
I
30,
know.
like 30s, whatever.
Well,
It's
I think they're just going to do every 5 years, make it big, just go big, because they didn't really do much for like 5 and 10. I think there was maybe some little collection boxes or something, but and then 15th, obviously we had 20th we had generations, and then yeah, celebrations. 25th seems like a much bigger milestone than 30,
yeah.
but I feel like they're just going to go hard every anniversary, and then just have to always outdo themselves. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's going to be. They could do artist autograph cards. Like, could you imagine if they have any
They
Shinji Kami?
could,
Like, that
but
would be
I don't
crazy.
think they would ever do that because of the culture difference in Japan. Because a lot
Yes,
of
I
the
agree.
well-known artists, they'll sign stuff,
Yep.
but it's like, is this yours? There's even been
They
scandals where people will go get the monograph and then have the signatures wiped, and just from a cultural standpoint, the artists there don't really appreciate that kind of stuff. So it would have to be
Yep.
really
Yep.
dependent on the artist at hand. But yeah, they probably haven't done any of that stuff because they don't have to, right? Like they haven't. They could
Right.
always do serialized, or they could always do like I said, like refractors, where you have like Mew. Well, they already kind of do that because you have like the reverse hollow and the hollow rare, but you could always do like
Right.
number to 299, or like sports, or you have like 5 different colors where the colors are. There's so many things that are left on the table for them that it's not even funny.
I mean, they did it in Chinese. That Mew is out of 1,551.
Yeah.
So we do technically have a serial. I mean, it's not serialized, but we have a exact print run. That's the first card in Pokemon history that we know the exact print run of.
Yeah.
So they're starting Chinese.
It's a pretty
We
one
didn't talk
too.
about Chinese at all. China, it's oh, that card's beautiful. Chinese, I'm really into Chinese lately. I pulled the Captain's Pikachu a few weeks ago, and I have some more Chinese coming as a collector to open it. It's a lot cheaper. The opening experience is a lot of fun. So if you just want to rip something, go get some Chinese gem packs. They are a blast.
That's a solid suggestion. Well, we're getting pretty
Yeah.
close to the end of it. Usually when we wind down, I always give the option to the guest. Is there any topic that we didn't discuss that you want to go over? Is there any questions you had for me, or is there just a parting message that you want to give to the people on the hobby at large, or any particular aspect of it?
Yeah, two quick things. One is a take, and one is a question for you. You touched briefly on black and white. I think black and white, black bolt and white flare, are going to be two. Well, I get one set, two, whatever you want to call it. The one of the best sets of all time. It's going to age so
Yeah.
well.
It got dogged on
Um,
too, real hard.
I not by me, not by me. I don't understand why the sentiment was so bad at the. I guess we were coming off Destined Rivals, and people
Yeah.
were blinded by Team Rocket. Guys, it has 156 illustration rares. It has plus the monochrome cards. Like, it is so deep. The artworks are incredible. The illustration rares, the special illustration rares, it's absolutely some of the best artwork and some of the best like cohesive set that Pokemon has ever put together. If you put them together, it's the largest set in
Hmm.
Pokemon history. I still think they're underrated. I hope we get a reprint. Like, I so badly, we've gotten no reprints of them, and now we have the 30th. Like, maybe next year. It's in rotation for a while yet, but it's if that doesn't get reprinted, if that gets like the Shroud of Fable treatment or the Rebel Clash or whatever, like some of these weird sets that just they weren't popular for some reason and they
Sure.
never get reprinted, those ETBs are going to be insane.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so Black Bolt and White Flare, I wanted to say that earlier and didn't get a chance to. But yeah, no, the only question I had for you, I've heard you drop some little tidbits of like some like Batman stuff and whatever, and I think you're kind of like a little bit of a superhero nerd like me. What is your favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe movie of all time?
Marvel Cinematic Universe of all time favorite.
Yep.
I excluding Endgame, because I think for Endgame, especially if you're my age or within a few range, because you know when they first started coming out, I was like 12, so it's like
Yeah.
14.
Same.
So
Yeah.
going in the end, having the culmination is one thing. I would have to go with probably Captain America 2: Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier is great. That's
Yeah.
top 5 for me for sure.
It melds, you know, the kookiness that Marvel can be sometimes with the seriousness of, you know, some of the sound effects and the music when like Winter Soldier first comes out. The whole scene where
Yep.
Nick Fury's in the Jeep and he's just getting riddled with bullets, and it's just like, I don't know, man. It's just something about that movie that really just kind of checks off all the boxes.
It's a good one. Yeah.
What's yours?
It leads right into Civil War, which is Civil War is absolutely incredible. It is still Thor. I go back and forth. I love Thor Ragnarok for some reason. That's more the comedy part, I guess. I love Thor Ragnarok, but I think by far the best movie that they've ever done is Infinity War. Infinity War is incredible. I mean, it's just I've probably watched that movie more than any movie in my life's history. So, but yeah, excited for the new Spider-Man 4 and Doomsday later this year. So, but yeah,
my only gripe with Infinity War is like, and this might be a hot take, I feel like Peter Quill not acting in the moment when they had Thanos tied up is on, for me, on par with somehow Palpatine returned. It just is out of nowhere. It's out of nowhere. There's so much at stake, and you're really gonna stop everything you're doing because you found out that he was the one who killed your girlfriend. Like, come on, man. I know this is Marvel. I know we're like in space in like iron lung spider suits, but yeah.
Oh man, dude, I would not put that on the same level as Palpatine Return, but okay, yeah, that's.
Let's just say on the Venn diagram, there's some overlap. I won't make it its own category.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. That's. Yeah, we won't talk about Star Wars. I love Star Wars, but yeah, give me Andor, give me Mandalorian. Don't give me episodes, whatever. Yeah.
Now that we're talking about it, I have to ask before we leave. Was there an overall, because when we all went to see that movie, right? When everyone read that line in the scroll, there was a uniformed, like everybody moaned, and I had never experienced that in a movie before.
It was unbelievable. Yeah.
And then to hear the words in the movie too. Oh man,
it was crazy in the theater. Literally, there was people walking out of that movie at the theater. Yeah. I was in an IMAX with probably 500 people, stadium, 8-story high theater, huge, whatever. And halfway through, there was people walking out.
All right, you have to give me a solid rating, 1 to 10, real quick. Ready?
Yeah, add the shoot, go.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Like a 7.
Okay. I got more than a 5. I was trying to capture. He did a good job delivering it. Just happened to be one of the worst moments of movie history in the last 10 years.
You're right. Exactly.
But anyway, I digress. That was episode 11 of Sunday Morning Conversation. Thank you very much again for stopping by. Before we do leave, make sure you give me, I'm sure you'll give it to me afterwards, but tell the people where to find us. That way we can direct them towards your channel and wherever else you may want them to go.
Yeah, I'm just Krabby's Cards on YouTube. I upload every day for the most part, and I'm trying to throw in more shorts and stuff like that. But you'll get a 12 to 18-minute video from me every day of the week. And I do have an Instagram. I'm really bad with it. So yeah, just check me out on YouTube.
Sweet. Well, we'll have that stuff linked below. And yeah, man, thanks again for stopping by. It was a really great talk. A lot of different stuff that we normally talk about. So it was really good to kind of have it shaken up a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.
Peace.